We move over now to the Sounders, and we've got much, much more clearance when it comes to the Sounders and what's going to be happening for them in the playoffs. It was decision day this past week. You're playing St. Louis, who had already locked up the top seed in the Western Conference, and it was all to play for Seattle. St. Louis arguably didn't need to play for anything unless they wanted to knock Seattle down in the seeding. It was just up for the Sounders to either go all the way up, possibly to the second spot, or they could fall as low as 4, I think, unless they lost, and a bunch of other things happened. So fortunately, that didn't happen, and Seattle comes out with a 2-0 victory. This was kind of a statement win for the Sounders to come out and make this sort of effort shown on decision day, securing home field advantage, securing the second seed as LAFC was not able to get a win. So the Sounders lock up that 2 seed. And if they face someone else in the playoffs, unless it's St. Louis, they're going to be hosting at Lumen Field. We are in the MLS's new playoff format where the rounds are 3 playoff games each. So that'll be interesting. But looking at this match, our player of the match, midfielder Christian Roldan, the impact of the former Husky cannot be overstated. Just what he does when he's in this lineup for Seattle, how Seattle looks when he's in this lineup is night and day. When he's in it and when he's out when he's out of it. In this match, though, an 8.0 match rating, 1 assist, 3 shots, only a 59% passing percentage, which isn't the greatest, but the big factor here is 3 chances created, help causing trouble against one of the best keepers in the entire league in Roman Berkey. Seattle, obviously, they didn't allow a goal in this one, so Stefan Fry helps make some history, a club record with 14 clean sheets on the year. Massive there. That also credit to the defensive side of the ball. Another big aspect of this game, that the injury report was the cleanest that it's been probably all season. So, I mean, you look at it this way, Seattle in their past 5 matches has not lost in those past 5 matches. This is just going back to the 5. We could go back 7 or 8, and you could see there. But in those past 5 matches, they recorded a point in all of them. They won 3 of those past 5 matches. They just beat the top seed in the Western Conference. They look fully healthy. Good teams and teams that tend to go deep, knock on wood, in the playoffs get hot at the right moment, and they get a little bit lucky, and they get healthy at the right moment. Again, knock on wood. So I'm not going to say anything in that regard, but it's remarkable to see just how frustrating this season was for the Sounders on multiple levels, not because of their play particularly, largely their play, but how good they were from the beginning of the season to May in terms of offensive production and results. And then from May until this late part of the season, how mediocre it was, like draw, failing to convert on the opportunities. You led the league in expected goals for the longest period of time. And then this end of the season where it seems like you're kind of getting things figured out again. You're the Sounders, and you're annoying the rest of the league because you're getting hot at the right time heading into the playoffs. And you're going to host once again. So it's going to be big to be able to host. Also, sort of in terms of that, the big related news, it's going to be motivating in this factor as well. Nico Ladero confirmed after the match against St. Louis that he has played his final regular season match with the Sounders. And an exclusive interview with Sounder at Heart said that he will not be back with Seattle next season. So one of the best signings in MLS history, one of the most influential players in Sounders club history, will not be back with the club next year. There was a last regular season match against Vancouver where he kind of seemed to applaud the fans a little extra, was emotional about it. He didn't say anything in particular at that moment, but it all but seemed that that was his last home regular season match with Seattle. And now Nico confirms this is his last ride with the Sounders. So I'm sure he's going to want to go out on the right note, and his teammates would like to put him out on the right note as well. Just kind of to go back to this game, I know we usually don't go back to talking about the game once we get into the team-related notes, but The defensive side of the ball looked good. That back four was solid. Reed Baker Whiting looked excellent starting in this match over Nuhu, who had to come back after some complications over with the Cameroon national team in Russia. He looked excellent. So, we talked about it last week with Reed Baker Whiting staying after that U.S. youth national team call up and why he was so important to this club. Performances like that, like this past week against St. Louis, or why it was important for him to stay. You look at the midfield. João Paulo should win the MLS Most Improved Player award after missing a lot of last season with an injury. The attack up top could be better, arguably, but 2 goals against the best keeper, arguably, in the league, maybe besides Stephen Fry, is solid. And Raul Ruidiaz has been training lately. He did not get into this game. He was on the bench available for selection. You get a guy like that who can be a total X factor for you. Again, I'm not going to say anything, but so anyway, we found out the opponent as decision day ended. The Sounders end with a 14-win, 9-draw, 11-loss record. Wait, no. It's win-loss draw. I'm talking about how MLS website sets it up. We'll go backward. Win, loss, draw. 14 wins, 9 losses, 11 draws. There you go. Could have been higher. 53 points on the season. Seattle finishes 7th in Supporter Shield standing. That matters depending on who they would play if they were to reach MLS Cup, depending on if they will host or not. Again, got to get there first. Second in the Western Conference, as I mentioned. Their next few matches, it's going to take some time. It won't be until next week, later in the day, actually, when we do our next episode. Monday, October 30th versus FC Dallas at a kickoff time of 6 p.m. Pacific time is the first of potentially 3 matches. The third match is only necessary if we get through these 2 first ones tied. Now, to note, these MLS Cup playoff matches don't go into extra time if it's tied at the end of it. There's no ties in this as well. If we are tied at the end of regulation, we go straight to penalty kicks, which is already stressful in and of its own. So game 1 here in Seattle, Monday, October 30th versus FC Dallas, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Then game 2 on the road at Toyota Stadium at FC Dallas, Saturday, November 4th at a 6 p.m. kickoff as well. If for some unfortunate reason we have to go to game 3, that would be back here in Seattle, Friday, November 10th versus FC Dallas with a 7 p.m. Kickoff time. Again, that's only if necessary. Again, I will state it. If these matches are draws at the end of regulation, we have to go straight to penalty kicks, which is very how do I say this without being it's very, very stressful on its own. So